Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now you see.
It's me now. You're my truth now. Yeah. I'm here to speak and make it clear. I'm sorry, y'all, for all I've done. But I'm not the only one. In a dark place, I told some lies, but I'm not the only one. We all got secrets under the sun. In the shadows, we played the game. Now I'm standing here taking the blame. A lot of y'all was at the freak off too, so don't put it all on me. That's just the truth. I've been up and down this road trying to find my peace. Confessions of a man without a release. Oh, now, hey. In the mirror, I saw the truth hiding in plain view. I'm coming clean now. This burden to undo. We were all there dancing shadows in the night, acting wrong when we knew what was right. But deep inside, there's more you must see. In this room of mirrors, it's not just me. I walk this path with heavy chains, trying to shed those sins, erase the stains. I've seen the highs and the pushing low, fading in the spotlight. That's how it goes. Yeah. Now I'm standing here, hard on my sleeve.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. All right. I see you. Aquarius MC is in the house. The lovely T, Lillian X, DSB, Fly Gemini. Okay. 504 Nola. Juju B is in the house. All right. Shout out to my moderators. Y'all know they be putting in work. Okay. Jeff ATL. Nicole is here. Junior. We the people. All right. OG Patrice. Stacy Quentin. Okay. Sheila Askins. All right, Panther Strike. Let's get ready to get into it. Okay, so before we get started with all the nefariousness, let's have a brief word from our sponsor because y'all know we got to keep the lights on, honey. Please pay attention.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes oil for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so by the way, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, also on Twitter or X at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay, so shout out to everybody in the chat and everyone tuned into the Queen. Now let's get into it. And now keep in mind, I don't mind bringing the Diddy news because it is salacious and nefarious, and we're all here for it. But later on today, we have to talk about some important stories that are going on that have come out, honey, and they are equally as nefarious. Okay, so with that all being said, it looks like they're having a problem with jury selection. Okay, because first of all, they expected jury selection to be done by yesterday. Okay, they expected it to be done by yesterday. Now, mind you, Mark Geragos, who's a senior attorney, he didn't believe it would be done by yesterday. He said, in fact, he thought that it would take at least until today, okay, which is Thursday. So as they enter into the fourth day, you know, we'll see how it all turns out. But I know one thing, Diddy, according to my source, looked a little upset when they let this person come through who said that she had been molested with an M when she was a kid, when they were questioning the jurors, you know, and when they have these sort of questions or these, when they ask questions about sexual battery, assault, or whatever to the jurors, when the jurors answer this, it's like a sidebar. If you all remember that I told you that, because they don't need everybody else in the courtroom hearing what the person is saying, so they try to have an element of privacy. But here's the thing, Diddy is sitting right there in earshot, and also there's a they told me there's like a thing with the transcripts on it or whatever, so Diddy can see all of that. So basically they said this HBO photo producer claimed that she was she could show empathy and be impartial, even though she said that she was molested with an M when she was a child, and so was her sister. But also when she talked about the CNN video of Diddy beating Cassie's behind, she said that it was hard to watch and that it was very unsettling. But for whatever reason, the judge decided to keep her. And so they said Diddy was looking real shook about that one, honey. Okay, Diddy was looking real shook. He wasn't there for it. And then also here's the other problem. Okay, so they're having an issue because it's very hard to find an impartial jury when everyone has likely seen the video, has heard all the stories, even some of the lies that have come out from people like Adria English and Lamisha Fuller. You know, some people heard those stories and still believe them. Just like in the case of Allie Carter. You know, some of these things are floating around here, and there's some people who don't know that these people are just liars who lie. So they believe some of these stories. And so with that all being said, it is very difficult to find an impartial jury. And another thing that really boggles my mind is that the jury was not sequestered. Now, I find that so very interesting because you see, I explained to you all the other day, for those of you who missed it, that they sequester a jury so that they're basically isolated from the outside world. So they're not being influenced by things that they're watching on television, hearing on the radio, or that their friends and spouses may be saying or whatever. But they did not sequester them. And so I just don't believe that these people are not going to be talking about this when they get home. Okay, if you have a husband or a wife, you mean to tell me they're not going to be asking you, well, how was jury selection today? Or when when the trial starts or whatever, they're not going to be asking them certain things about it. Of course they are. Okay, so please pay attention at the end of the day. And here's the thing. I keep telling you guys that all of this stuff is going to be set up by the defense to use it upon appeal. And another thing is Mark Geragos. Let's talk about him because, as I was thinking, I said, Mark Geragos is smart. He knows what he's doing. He needs to sit down somewhere. Okay, so check this out. Now, if you remember when I played the clip from my old video from over a year and a half ago where Jonathan Oddie, and I said he exposed Mark Geragos. What I was talking about, for those of you who missed it, that basically, Mark Geragos, according to Jonathan Oddie, they were trying to get the FBI on him or whatever. And he was talking about the nefarious stuff that Diddy was doing. And he made it seem as though, in my opinion, that Mark Geragos knew about some of these nefarious things that Diddy was doing. And so, but here's the thing. Let's not forget that he wasn't just Diddy's attorney. They're friends. He's known Diddy for years. Now, I caught something the other day, and I don't know if you all caught it too, but when I was playing the video from Two Angry Men with the podcast with Mark Geragos and Harvey Levin, do you all remember when Mark Geragos said out of his mouth that Diddy has a violent temper? How many of you remember hearing him say that? One's in the chat. He said, Diddy has a violent temper. He said, but that's not what he's on trial for. And I said to myself, why would he say that if he's supposed to be helping Diddy's team? Why would you admit that he's violent, even though we know that he is? But why would you specifically say that, right? So, okay, you always say you remember. So I was like, why would he say that? Also, when he was talking about the case, and, the prosecutors and all that stuff, calling them a six-pack of white women. Well, I really didn't think that was a big deal because I felt like he was just poking fun or whatever, just being humorous. But some of the things that he has said about the case previously, and then them inviting the daughter, Teeny Geragos, on the podcast maybe about a month ago. Remember, I showed you all that as well. So I'm like, why would Mark Geragos, he knows better. He's a senior attorney. Why would he, first of all, come out and publicly say that Diddy is violent? Why would he come out and just start saying things about the prosecutors and just talking or whatever? Well, here's the thing. You know what Mark Geragos is trying to do, in my opinion? I think that I already told you all this clearly weeks ago, but I'm going to say it again, because now I think that's exactly what Mark Geragos was trying to do. Remember, I told you all that the defense is setting up an appeal in case Diddy does get convicted, and how they would use everything and all these filings and petitions they've sent to the judge, complaining about the prosecution, complaining about other lawyers and their clients just talking too much and saying things, and all the lies that have been spread, and all the documentaries that have been done implying things that Diddy never did, and that have never been proven. But now, one thing that I did tell you also is that they could say ineffective counsel. Do you all remember that? I said they could also come up with something about ineffective counsel. And so with that being said, the prosecution has been trying so desperately to prevent that from happening. And how do I know that? Well, because my insider told me that that's the reason that they basically offered Diddy that plea deal right before the jury selection started. Last Friday, I think it was. They offered him a plea deal. Not that they really wanted to give him a plea deal, but they know that if they don't give him a plea deal, and then his lawyers, if he gets convicted, they can say, well, my client was never offered a plea deal, this, that, and the third. But if any of Diddy's attorneys behave in a way that's not suitable, that also could come back, and then they could say, basically, they could say, I don't know what just happened. Okay. So they could basically say that, he had ineffective counsel. And so is that why Mark Geragos is on the podcast talking about the story or talking about the case? And is that why he said that Diddy had a violent temper? You all need to think about that, because he might be trying to set it up just for that. Because remember, Diddy is his friend too, not just the client. Okay. So that's what I'm thinking is why he was saying that. But anyway, they're having a hard time trying to get an impartial jury. And so here we are at day 4. And do you all think they'll have a jury together by next week when the closing or the opening arguments are supposed to start? And also, they said that 45 have moved on to the next round. Okay, so, but let's talk about Michael B. Jordan, because, Michael B. Jordan, of course, I told you he was brought into the case. And basically, it's been said that he dated Cassie for a minute. But here's something else, though. Michael B. Jordan also had a relationship with Diddy, too. Okay, so what exactly is going to be his role? Is he going to come in there and testify? Or maybe his name was just mentioned. He may not even have anything to do with the case. Okay, He may have just had his name mentioned because it was mentioned in Cassie's lawsuit that there was somebody she was dating in 2015, and then Diddy supposedly threatened them. So I really don't think Michael B. Jordan's going to be in the case, in the trial. I don't think he's going to testify or anything because, like I said, he and Diddy were friends too. Okay, happy birthday, King at Michael B. Jordan. All right. Now, with that all being said, I just thought I'd throw that out there because I thought that was interesting that they posted that picture. But also, Diddy did like this little video clip that I saw just this morning on X. I'm going to share my screen and let you all see it, where he's saying something to Michael B. Jordan. He's like publicly saying something to Michael B. Jordan while he's in the shower. While Diddy's in the shower, he sticks his head out and says something to Michael B. Jordan. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. And so, like, what kind of relationship did they have? Now, of course, I'm not implying anything sexual. I'm just saying, what was the extent of their relationship? Were they good friends? And was this before or after Michael B. Jordan had something going on with Cassie? Okay, I'm just curious. But that all being said, I'm going to share the screen. Also, there's a video that I found from where Michael B. Jordan was trying to get into a Diddy party. Hold on. And they wouldn't let him in. Now, I'll have to be careful with that one because I'm going to have to use an overlay because this is TMZ's video, honey. You know TMZ don't mind hitting you with a copyright strike or something. So let me just put on some music, and then I'll put an overlay up before I play it. I got this from Facebook. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Production.
Is one of the biggest actors in Hollywood,
For
right?
sure. He's got tons of movies on his plate right now. I mean, he's a sought-after guy.
I can't think of 10 people that are hotter than Michael B. Jordan right now in the acting world. So, you know BOA. BOA is one of the premier Hollywood restaurants. There's an after party for BET at BOA. Diddy is throwing it, and Michael B. Jordan shows up, and of course he wants to get in. Here's what happened.
How was the awards, man? Nice.
It don't even matter. It don't matter, dude. I'll send me outside to get you. I ain't see that. He's smiling.
Yeah, have fun. They're not going to let him in. What is going on, man?
It's drama in LA, bro.
I know, it's crazy. I thought Puff's in for you.
They wouldn't even let him in the door. Again, usually in Hollywood, this is the way it works in Hollywood. If you're a star, you can...
Okay, so as you can see, they wouldn't let his arse in. They said, somebody said, Puff sent us outside to get you, but when he got back to the door, they wouldn't let him in. So what was really going on? Now, let's go. And we next, aka DSB, thank you for your kind contribution, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. Says, MB Jordan is suspect to me. Dude be acting too girly. Well, you know what? I thought he was, I'm not going to say he was, well, I will say this. I saw in a video once where he was during an interview. It was when the movie Creed came out. I think it was Creed 3, the one with Jonathan Majors before he got into all that trouble. And so they were both being interviewed about the movie. And one of them was like touching the other one's knee or something like that. And I thought that was kind of crazy. And so, yeah, you know, you never know about these people in Hollywood. Okay. You just never know, beloved. All right. So thank you for your contribution. Again, peace, love, and blessings. Now let's go to this video where Diddy sticking his darn head out the shower, talking about Michael B. Jordan. First of all, Diddy, I have several questions. Why are you talking about this man or even thinking about him while you're in the shower? Okay, make that make sense.
Excuse me. We interrupt this regular scheduled programming to have a Black Excellence moment. Tracy Ellis Ross. The only shampoo that I would shampoo my hair with to go to Michael B. Jordan's birthday.
Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere, and he absolutely did go to Michael B. Jordan's birthday party because Michael B. Jordan posted pictures and stuff on his Instagram back then. Okay, that's one of them, like I already showed you. Okay, so very interesting as far as I'm concerned. We have nefarious things going on. I think they're trying to get Diddy, the means of an appeal and all of that. So, but here's the thing. Hold on, where do I want to start? Let's talk about Justin Combs, okay? Because I thought this was interesting. Now, y'all know I follow these people just to be all up in their business. That's Justin and King Combs and all of them. And so remember on yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before? Whatever day it was either yesterday or the day before where I pointed out to you all that Rodney Jones, Little Rod, that he got his cases against Cuba Gooding Jr. and Justin Combs that had to be dismissed without prejudice because he was not able to serve them. And also the judge was annoyed because his attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, had not done things in the proper not the proper sequence, but he didn't do them in a timely fashion because the judge gave him a deadline and he had not done what he was supposed to do. Then when he started trying to deliver service or whatever, it never got delivered. The letters never got delivered. And then also they said something about him sending it to a neighbor's house that somebody he thought was a neighbor of either Justin or Cuba, but they said he didn't even give the judge an explanation for that. So basically, the judge ruled that, if you haven't served him by now, buddy, it's just a wrap. So with that all being said, let me just show you what Justin posted yesterday or whenever he found out that news, honey, he was beyond thrilled. Okay, please pay attention. And my thing is, Justin, where have you been hiding? Okay, where have you been hiding? Because clearly he's hiding now. Somebody told me he was down here in Atlanta, but I don't know. Okay, y'all see this? This is what Justin said, honey, when he found out that the judge said, you waited too long, it's a wrap. He said, "Dear God, thank you for another day. Thank you for another opportunity to see your mercies, which are new every morning. Today I come to you asking for your peace to fill my heart and move through every part of me. Your word in Romans 15:13 says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace in believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit, you may abound in hope. God, I need that power today. I believe with all of my heart that your word is true and everlasting. You are not a God of confusion, but a God of peace. Thank you for stepping into my situation and bringing peace that surpasses all understanding. Thank you that even now you already made a way. In Jesus' name, amen." I know he didn't. He's so nefarious. Now y'all hear that? Justin, please sit down somewhere, beloved. Okay, please. I'm gonna need you to have several seats. Okay, I'm gonna need you to have several seats. Jeff ATL said Justin is hiding here in ATL, honey. That's what I heard. Okay, I can't substantiate it, but that was the word on the curve. Okay, Leon said the devil knows how to pray too. You already know, honey, the devil will sometimes be sitting up in the front pew of the church. Okay, talking about thank you, God, for stepping in. Honey, when's the last time you talked to God before this happened? Okay. I have several questions, but anyway, that was just interesting to me. I had to chuckle. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about Capricorn Clark, honey, because remember I told you all that Capricorn Clark was supposed to be testifying against Diddy according to her ex. Well, let me let you all hear this, because here's the thing. We know that Lauren London's name has been mentioned. Okay, we know that Lauren London's name has been mentioned. Now, is Lauren London, is she going to speak at the behest of Diddy or what? Okay, I have several questions, because remember, she's always liked Diddy. Okay, she's always been good friends with Diddy. In fact, remember I told you all she was talking about how Diddy was the one who got her up and ready to go to the funeral for Nipsey Hussle. Okay, so with that all being said, let's talk about some of these celebrities first, and then I want to play this audio for you all where Capricorn's ex, or the guy that she once dated or whatever, is saying these things. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, so Kanye West. Okay, West released the song Lonely Still Goes to Sunshine that features Combs and his son, Christian King Combs, shortly after his arrest. Now, the song supposedly includes a taped phone conversation with Diddy from prison. Okay, so now they don't say, mind you, how any of these people are pertaining to the case. If they're going to be a prosecution witness or a defense witness, or if their name was just mentioned. Now, I do think they specified something about Michael B. Jordan. So anyway, they say Mike Myers. Now, they said his ties to Diddy are unknown, okay, if there's any at all. But the former Saturday Night Live cast member made a joke about the rapper in his film Austin Powers. Michelle Williams, Destiny Child singer, was mentioned on the first day of trial, but they gave no context as to why she was mentioned. And mind you all, there is 190 celebrities that they claim have been mentioned on this list. 190. That's crazy to me. Now, they say Lauren London, the former partner of Nipsey Hussle, said that Combs helped her get through the funeral of the rapper. Okay, Christian King Combs and Justin Combs. Okay, they say Diddy's son's Christian is his son Christian is accused of assault and battery that allegedly occurred in 2022 on a yacht chartered by his father in a 2024 lawsuit. He and his brother Justin were handcuffed during the raid on their father's mansion that led to his arrest in September of 2024. So you mean they're going to testify? Okay, they're probably going to be like character witnesses for their father, I would just imagine. And then, of course, I told you all these names days ago. I'm just going over what they're reporting now as they added more context to some of them. Okay, so Dallas Austin, he's a record producer who dated Combs, his ex-girlfriend and mother of his children, Kim Porter, who died at the age of 47. And so wonder what Dallas is going to be asked if he's there. Okay, is this going to be something about the abuse that allegedly happened to Kim? And then, of course, Cassie. Kid Cudi, we already know about that car blowing up. And then it says Michael B. Jordan, the actor, once dated Ventura, and their relationship was referenced in her lawsuit. Now, Aubrey O'Day, a former member of Danny Kaine, O'Day has been outspoken about Combs, calling him a soulless man and saying that the work conditions that they had to work in as a girl group were toxic. She once said that Combs' alleged mistreatment was enough to have changed the course and direction of her entire life. Okay, so another former member of Combs' pop group Danny Kaine, and that is Dawn Richard, is suing him in a civil case for sexual abuse. Now, here's the thing I want you all to pay attention to. I keep reiterating this so that when it happens, don't say I didn't tell you, and don't say you didn't hear it here first. Okay, because they have Dawn Richard listed. Dawn Richard has an active case against Diddy in the civil courts. Now, if she comes in there and testifies about anything that Diddy did to her, y'all already know what that is, right? Y'all already know what that is. Prior bad acts. Okay? Just remember, that's what got Harvey Weinstein off. Now, I'm going to go to this video. Absolutely too early to determine if Diddy should testify. Okay, now here's the thing. Diddy should definitely not testify. Okay, Diddy, and I told you all before, in many ways, Diddy reminds me of Trump. In many ways, he reminds me of Trump because, first of all, both of them are narcissists, in my opinion. And I think Diddy's a sociopath and Trump's a psychopath, quite frankly. But their narcissism and their arrogance makes them think that they're always the smartest person in the room. Okay? And Trump got up there on the stand and testified, even though his lawyers told him not to. Okay? He talks too much. That's why things didn't go good for him. Okay? That's why he got convicted. Now, Diddy has said in the past, they've said that Diddy also wants to testify at his own behalf. That's never a good idea because we already know Diddy's going to have to get up there and tell some lies. Unless he's just going to come clean, and we know he's not going to do that. He's going to fight for his life. So it would behoove him to sit down and shut up and let his lawyers tell him what to do rather than the other way around. But the question is, will he do it? Okay, We Next, aka DSB, just gifted the channel 10 memberships. Thank you, beloved. I really appreciate you. Oh, here's another one. 20 more memberships. That's 30 memberships from We Next, aka DSB. Thank you, beloved. We all appreciate you, I'm so sure. Peace, love, and blessings. You all shout out DSB in the comments, honey. Let's get some fire emojis. All right. Thank you for helping us all out, beloved. Okay, so I'm going to go to this video. Panther Strike said DSB is at it again. Okay. All right, here we go.
Former prosecutor, longtime friend of mine. Joe, since we're talking about the importance of sartorial choices, this is a complete coincidence.
Now, for those of you who don't know who this man is, this is Joe Tacopina, the one that represented A$AP Rocky in his recent trial where he avoided being sentenced to 24 years. Okay, and this is who Diddy wanted on his team, but Joe Tacopina said that it was too late in the game. The trial was right around the corner and he wouldn't have time to adequately prepare as far as he was concerned.
And dressed like a choir boy, given the nature of some of the testimony and the evidence that we're going to be dealing with in this case. Help me to sort of think through picking the ultimate juror when you know things are going to get juicy and racy and dirty and all the rest.
Look, this is a case where you either want one or two jurors. Jurors are going to be so, as a defense attorney, and let's be real, we want jurors. We could all say we want fair jurors and honest jurors. We could all say that's what we're supposed to want. Let's be real and say we want jurors who are going to be best for our side, right? We want jurors who we think are going to make our chance of winning higher. Both sides want that. Prosecutors want that too. Don't kid yourself. So I think in this case, you want the jurors who are enamored with P. Diddy, what he stood for, who he is, where he came from. People who appreciate that he sort of a rags to riches story, if you will, or I'm going to surprise some people with this, very, very smart jurors. And what I mean by that is I've had these cases where people have, perceived guilt before we even pick the jury. And in those cases, of course, if I'm going to trial on the case, I believe I have a defense. And in those cases, I want really smart jurors because I want them to be able to put aside sort of the preconceived public sentiment and the evidence and to focus on what is the real issues in the case and what a reasonable doubt is, because that's really what this case is going to fall on. There's one issue in this case, really, Ashley, that this whole, we can talk about freak offs and swingers and this and that. It's one issue, consent. Were these women consenting to be part of this world, these freak offs, the P. Diddy world, or were they not? Were they coerced? Were they coerced? Were they forced against their will? It's just that simple. It's really what you have to, ask yourself, and what this jury is going to be forced to answer. Was this consensual or not?
Let me ask you a question. If this was your client and, P. Diddy, there aren't enough bulbs that are bright enough to depict the power that this guy has just in, being in his presence, he just takes the oxygen out of the room. Would you put him on the stand? Do you think that this guy as a performer, as a masterful performer, would be helpful to your case on the stand?
It's here's the real honest answer. And if any defense attorney worth their salt say this to you, it is absolutely too early to make that determination. Look, the A$AP Rocky trial we just finished. It was our intention 100% of the way for Rocky to testify in that case. He was going to testify. He was prepared to testify. We had prepped his testimony. By the time we got there, we chose not to put him on the stand because we thought, the case was already in our hands, and putting him on the stand would have delayed the jury getting this case, would have removed this case further from the destruction of their chief witness. Of course, even a truth teller could be made to look like a liar under a skillful cross-examination. And the focus then becomes on him. Once the defendant takes the stand, forget all the damage you've done to the prosecution's witnesses, the reasonable doubts you may have, brought out from the prosecution's witnesses, the inconsistencies, maybe the lies that you've elicited from the prosecution witnesses. That all becomes background noise. What becomes the focal point of the whole trial is the defendant credible? Is he telling the truth or is he lying? If the defendant is seen to be a liar by the jury, game, set, and match. It doesn't matter
what damage
you've done. Yep. So that's
one
why
thing I will
most
say,
defendants do not testify.
He's likable. He's proven billions of dollars over that he's really likable. So, but who knows? You're right. It's really early.
Likable,
Joe,
but then
you're so
they're going to
great.
play that videotape. They're going to play a videotape, though. So.
Oh, very good point. Yeah, no blue sweater is going to overcome that. Joey Tacopina, will you come back and talk to me about this as the case goes on? I think we're going to be several weeks in this.
Sure, Ashley. Absolutely.
Good to have you, as always.
All right, so you all heard what he said. He said that he's likable, but they're going to play that video, okay? And that's going to be the problem for Diddy. But let me tell you something. Here's what's going to have to happen from the defense. Now, of course, we're going to have some of the information, you know, when we have people reporting from inside, you know, the courthouse and stuff like that, and I'll keep you all up to date. So we're going to find out what is said by the defense, the questions and all of that, the cross-examination. We'll get all that information, not to worry. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you all, here's the thing. What the defense is going to do is they're going to try to humanize Diddy, because they know once that tape hits the screen, now many of these jurors have already seen it. Probably they've all seen it. Okay, they've probably all seen it. But here's the thing. I'm going to tell you why the prosecution wants to play it anyway, because the prosecution knows these people have already seen it. Many of these people have already admitted that they saw it. Okay, many of them have already admitted that they saw it. That's right. American Isnet says the video is not about S trafficking. Exactly. So here's what's going to happen. The prosecution wants to show that video first off for any juror that didn't see it to see it, but also for the jury to watch Diddy's reaction as the video is played. You see, Diddy needs to realize, and I'm sure his team will tell him, that they're going to be watching every single thing that he does. They're going to be checking his body, you know, his body gestures, his disposition, the looks on his face, his reactions, and all of that, his facial expressions. So when they show that video in the court, because you can't get around it, it was heinous. Okay, it was a whole lot. Okay, one woman, like I told you, one woman that's passed through for the next phase of jury selection, she already said that it was very unsettling and hard to watch. So what they're going to do, the prosecution, is they're setting it up so that the jury can glance over as they're looking at it and see Diddy's face. So what his team needs to do, and I'm sure they already have, tell Diddy to put on your game face, put on your poker face, okay? But when that video comes on, you better look like you're about to cry. You better look sad as hell. Shake your head like you can't believe you did it. Just shake your head back and forth and just tear up a little bit. I'm telling you, Diddy's going to rub it on thick, honey. I know Diddy already knows the routine, because that's what you got to do. Okay, that's what you got to do, honey. If I had that video coming against me and I'm fighting for my life, baby, I'm sitting up there, I'm looking sad, I'm shaking my head like I just can't believe. I'm putting my head in my hands. I'm like I'm breaking down right there at the table. The attorney's going to have to rub my back to just try to make me feel better. Honey, I'm telling you. Okay, and then here's what the defense needs to say. After the jury has watched it, the defense should say, you know, you may not like our client. What you just saw in that video was heinous. It was probably uncalled for. But at the end of the day, this was a toxic relationship. Both of them would put hands on each other. Now, that's not an excuse. I'm just trying to explain to you the dynamics of the relationship. Okay? And you should ask yourselves, why didn't Cassie ever go to the police when that happened? Why did she stay in a relationship with him after that night? Was this about money? Was this about her having a career? What made her stay for all that time, even after this incident happened specifically? Those are the kinds of questions they should ask. And then also, they're going to have to humanize Diddy, like I said, because the prosecution's absolutely going to use his celebrity status, his money and power and all of that against him. And they're going to say, because here's the thing, they're going to have to jump over hurdles. And by they, I mean the prosecution. They're going to have to jump over hurdles to prove why this is S trafficking and not just Diddy being a swinger. And if the videos that Cassie gives them look like they were the least bit consensual, which I believe they do, because that's what Diddy's team has already said, Mark Agnifilo, there would be no need for him to lie about it when the videos are going to be shown in court. So clearly the videos look like they may have been consensual. And I also heard from my insider that one of the S workers that was supposed to be testifying for the feds is now going to be speaking for the defense. Okay? They're now going to be speaking for the defense. So with that all being said, I told you all, I'm not surprised, because I already told you all that if these S workers who were involved, if they say that it wasn't consensual, Cassie didn't want to do it. So what does that mean? Because Diddy wasn't the one having relations with Cassie in some of those videos. Okay, he was just watching. So that makes them look like they were the ones raping her. So do they really want to admit to that in open court amongst all these people? So, and here's the thing too. The feds are concerned that some of these people that are potential jurors may idolize Diddy. They may be fans, okay? They may just love Diddy. You know, this may be a clout chase for them to become a juror. Think about it. So they have to worry about that as well. This is why the process is taking so long. It's not easy to do. And now, meanwhile, the defense wants to get people that basically are not so thrilled about law enforcement, okay? People that are not so thrilled about law enforcement. And to me, that would be Black people, because we know white people, they love the police. They don't have a problem calling them at the drop of a dime. So, but Black people don't really care for the police as much because we don't trust the police. So that all been said, the defense definitely wants people who don't, because that's why they ask them about how they feel about the police. Okay, that's why they asked them. One of the jury selection questions was about how they feel about law enforcement. So if anybody happens to say that they don't trust the police, they think that the police are shady, or just anything like that, the defense is going to want to keep them around. Okay, so please pay attention. And another thing is, they should ask. I don't know if they will ask this. They probably will. You know, to make it seem like all of this is going on just because Diddy's a famous person. Because remember, I feel like they'll go down this road because Mark Agnifilo already has said on a myriad of occasions that they're going after Diddy because they want to take down this powerful Black man. Those are not his exact words. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along those lines. Okay, so with that all been said, what they're probably going to try to do is they should do this, in my opinion, and I think they will. They're probably going to say something like, you know, what if this wasn't a celebrity sitting here? What if this was just some Joe Schmo? Do you all think that these charges would still be applicable, that we'd be here right now if this was just a regular, everyday average Joe who's sleeping with multiple people, engaging in threesomes or even orgies? Do you think that if he wasn't the person that he is, powerful, rich, and all of that, a big time celebrity, do you think that he would have been charged with S trafficking? Do you think he would be facing these charges? Now, they may not say it the way I'm saying it, but I think that's pretty much something that they might want to mention. Okay, because the thing here is, this is really a case where Diddy's sex life is on trial, because it all revolves around consent or unconsensual. And here's the thing, non-consensual. And here's the thing too, the prosecution, they're definitely going to attack Diddy's, not only his character, but they're going to use his celebrity status against him and paint the picture that, okay, we could say these were all consenting adults, but how were they not coerced when Diddy held the key to their future, when Diddy had the power for their careers in his hands? Remember, Cassie said in her lawsuit that Diddy, you know, he would threaten her career. He would hold that over her head. But here's the thing. How would the defense counter that? Well, the defense could easily counter that, in my opinion, because my thing is, if you allow someone to do nefarious things to you, if you allow somebody to treat you all kinds of ways, beat you, traffic you do all of these things just because you want a career, didn't you make a conscious decision to do that? Whether it's a bad decision or not, you chose to do that. Okay, that's what the defense is going to make it look like, I'm telling you. And I also told you, and keep this in mind, they're going to treat Cassie as if she's an unindicted co-conspirator. They're going to be bringing up stuff that Cassie did right alongside Diddy. They're going to paint the picture that she's just as guilty as Diddy is. But is she? She's not just as guilty as Diddy, in my opinion, if Diddy's even guilty. Okay, this is all alleged. Diddy has not copped to any of it. But whatever Diddy actually did that's nefarious, they're going to tie Cassie to it to make it look as though she was down with it. Okay, and in some cases she absolutely was, by her own admission to some of the things that she's done. So that's another hurdle that the prosecution will have to cross, because remember, Cassie's their star witness, and I want you all to pay attention. Cassie's the star witness, so the defense is going to come for her harder than anybody. They're going to try to break her down, destroy her credibility. They're going to come with everything they've got, and if they can make her crack on the stand, the prosecution can hang it up, because if their star witness folds, it's going to be pretty much a wrap, in my opinion. Now, with that all being said, also, they only need one holdout Okay, they only need one juror holdout to get a hung jury for it to be declared a mistrial. And that's what they're going to be focusing on. You see, the prosecution, they want jurors who will view Diddy as an sexual deviant, someone who's depraved and would be willing to do anything to anyone to get what he wanted for his own nefarious reasons, such as his satisfaction, gratification, monetary gain or whatever. That's how they're going to paint it. But the defense is going to argue, they're going to counter that with their argument and say, these are ex-girlfriends. Now, if they were truly being forced to engage in sexual acts that they didn't want to participate in, and this was all against their will, then why did they stay? Okay? And why didn't they go to the police? Why did not one of them go to the police? Why come and file civil lawsuits to get money? Is that what this is all about? Is this about justice and Diddy's criminal behavior, alleged criminal behavior, or is this about money? Okay? So that's how that's likely going to go. And I want you all to pay attention, because they're going to try to say some of these women are scorned, some of them are mad or angry or whatever. Okay? TC Dan said, I mean, that's a fair question. Right. Now, let me tell you all something, too, about victim number 3, who has decided that she's not going to testify. And I told you all from the beginning that I felt like victim number 3 was Gina Hoon. Well, so someone told me on yesterday, who knows Miss Gina Hoon, okay, that she was victim number 3. And they said that the reason she doesn't want to testify against Diddy is because this is just what they said. I don't know this woman, but they said basically she's one of those groupies. They said that she dates different celebrities. They mentioned Trey Songz. I can't substantiate this, but they mentioned Trey Songz. And that she possibly feels that if she goes in there and says things against Diddy, then none of them are going to want to fool with her anymore. Okay, because they say she's like the fun girl, like the good time girl. Okay, so maybe that's not why she doesn't want to testify. I, for one, thought that maybe she was scared of Diddy and just changed her mind, because she went on that program. She went on Tasha K's show and said all that stuff about Diddy in 2019. And the next thing you know, she was right back with him. And that was crazy to me. That was really crazy. So anyway, that's what they said, honey. So I find it all interesting. But let's go to this next video where they try to dissect Diddy's case. Okay. Actually, I think they were trying to dissect that Cassie video. I'm going to share my screen. Like C. Martinez said, Obama is on those tapes. Well, there's been rumors. I don't know. But now they're saying there are no tapes. Lillian X says, Queen, was J-Lo's name on that list? J-Lo's name was mentioned. I don't really recall if it was on the list. Yeah, her name is on the list. It absolutely is, because they brought up the 1999 shooting incident, beloved. Yes. Okay, Andrew said Barack Obama is on those tapes. That's why it's a matter of national security. Y'all are going in on Obama. Okay. Hold on, let me cue this video. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, here we go. Hold on, let me check something real quick. Okay, I'm going to put an overlay on this just in case.
Personal injury attorney.
And we recently sat down exclusively with legendary criminal defense attorney Ben Brofman for a discussion about his former client and the criminal case against him.
Even for someone with the most ordinary background,
This is the city that made me
Stick to acting.
He's the man.
the map. Jury selection on the calendar for a blockbuster trial.
If convicted on these charges, P. Diddy faces life in prison.
If you followed Combs' career, you know there have been plenty of peaks and valleys. Someone who started from the bottom.
Just trying to get an internship from, Russell Simmons, Leo Cohen, Andre Harrell. And I was calling them, and, they wasn't taking my call.
Persistence that ultimately paid off. Diddy, in terms of his influence on hip-hop culture, was its first mogul, who was both flashy and business savvy.
As part of the deal, Puffy acquires his company, including the complete artist roster and the entire catalog.
A force of nature who paved the way for modern-day multi-hyphenates who look like him to be able to step into fashion.
We're launching Sean John Boys.
And onto the stage with confidence and bravado.
Playing his part in Raisin in the Sun on Broadway.
Diddy stood tall in his native New York.
P. Diddy Combs has unveiled the biggest billboard ever to hang in Times Square.
As corporate America embraced him.
We trying to do positive things.
For his philanthropy.
You gave a little money away today too, didn't you?
We gave $5,000 away.
And for being a man who kept his ear to the streets while building a billion-dollar brand. About those valleys, the road bumps in Combs' career.
And Puff Daddy could face prison time if he misses one more court appearance in the Hamptons.
Including the 1999 gun charge that almost derailed his career.
Puff Daddy, anything you want to say to your fans?
A case documented with vigor among his fans and within the media.
A couple and a bodyguard came running out of the club. Fenton says P. Diddy ordered him to speed away from the scene.
Diddy was acquitted and went on to enjoy a nearly unrivaled career that soared for the next 2 decades, until allegations of abuse and assault surfaced in 2023 from Cassie Ventura, his longtime partner and singer on his record label. Prepares for trial, there are open questions about what will be his legacy when the dust settles. Joining me now is Sean Diddy Combs' former criminal defense attorney, Benjamin Brafman. Ben, thanks for being here. Want to point out that you are not representing Sean Diddy Combs in his existing current federal criminal case, but you, more than so many people, have a lot of experience dealing with Combs as a criminal defendant. You were instrumental in getting his acquittal in that 1999 gun case. So I want to ask you first, what do you make of the government's strength in this case compared to when you represented him 26 years ago?
Well, 22 years ago, 25 years ago, it was the trial of the decade, primarily because of who Diddy was. The charges were quite common, but, because of his status as a major celebrity, that case was an interesting experience for me, and it was a media frenzy. I think the case today is a lot different. The charges are substantially more serious, and the gun case, which turned into a gun and a bribery case, it was what it was. It took 8 weeks. The jury acquitted him of everything, and he turned out to be, as I predicted he would be, one of the most successful African-American entrepreneurs of our time, and maybe even in the history of the world.
Well, a successful entrepreneur, regardless of race. I mean, he's a billionaire.
Right.
What do you make of the fact that although he's charged with racketeering conspiracy, right now he is the only accused conspirator in this case?
Well, that's quite common in federal court. The fact that they charge a conspiracy does not require them to name as a defendant every person who they're going to claim was a member of the conspiracy. Many people are unindicted co-conspirators in many criminal conspiracy cases, certainly in federal court. That relaxes the rules of evidence a little bit, charging a conspiracy. But the fact that he's going to be the only person sitting at the table, that's the way they decided to proceed.
Do you believe that there are other former employees or other associates who could be compelled to testify against him?
I think when you read the indictment, it's clear that they have been compelled, or maybe some of them didn't have to be compelled. There's a lot of suggestion in the indictment that former employees were themselves abused in one way or another. If these allegations turn out to be true, those people may have decided that they prefer to testify.
You're a seasoned attorney. I want your opinion on what is the key to the defense in getting him off? And then what is the key to the prosecution's case?
I think the prosecution case needs to prove what's charged in the indictment, and the indictment charges serious allegations. If those allegations turn out to be true and supported by the evidence, then it's going to be a tough case to defend. I think one of the sad parts, in my opinion, of what happened to the defense team is that maybe the best team member, Tony Rico, who I think is really a great trial lawyer, I mean, he's no longer part of the team. It's my understanding that, he just decided he didn't want to have anything more to do with the case for, a variety of reasons. But I think he was a tremendous asset that they lost.
Ben Brofman, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
Coming up, turning a drowning tragedy into hope.
All right. Well, you all heard that. Okay. Yeah, they lost Anthony Rico. He was really, his specialty was death penalty cases. But think about that, because death penalty, you have to be someone who is a very good trial lawyer when you're dealing with death penalty cases. So yeah, they did lose an asset. But now let's talk about Lauren London and her sister Capricorn. Okay, because I'm going to go to this video that I did previously. For those of you who missed the video from last night, please go back and watch. I talked about Capricorn and how she basically had this problem with Diddy, and Diddy beat her allegedly. Suge Knight spoke out about it. Capricorn responded to him or whatever, but she basically called Diddy the devil and said all these people are, and I'm paraphrasing, but she was basically saying Diddy's the devil. She literally said that. But she also implied that all these other people have just been kissing his butt for years. And these people are so enamored with him, like they're just so caught up with him that they can't see past his nefariousness. Okay, and she was just annoyed and said she doesn't like any of these people anymore, basically. But Lauren London, on the other hand, has a whole lot of favor for Diddy. And I, in fact, did a video over a year and a half ago telling you all how I felt like she was sent to Nipsey Hussle by Diddy. Okay, because remember, she said herself that she didn't reach out to Nipsey first. Her homeboy did. And I think her homeboy was none other than Diddy, because Diddy clearly wanted to work with Nipsey Hussle, which he ended up doing. He got close to him and he ended up being one of the executive producers on Nipsey's last album, okay, The Marathon. So with that all being said, we're going to go to this, and then I'm going to play for you with Capricorn's ex, or the guy that dated her or whatever, what he says about Capricorn. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. And Cassie and Lauren London, but look at how Diddy is looking at Lauren London. Look how he's looking at her. And Cassie's on the other side of him. Now, of course, both of them, Cassie and Lauren, both modeled for Sean John, but that's not the point. See how close Cassie and Lauren London were? Or are. Maybe they still are. And if they are, that's why I have even more questions as to why Lauren hasn't come out and said something, corroborated what her friend has said about Diddy, just like Tiffany Red did the other day. Now, when I saw this picture, this reminded me of another picture that I saw Lauren and Nipsey wearing those same outfits in. And I said, where have I seen them in those outfits before? Now, the funny thing is, Diddy is in the middle of Nipsey and Lauren. Why? And why is he looking at Lauren like that in the previous picture? Let's go back to it. Now, this picture right here, look how Diddy is still focused on Lauren, while Nitty is touching him on the shoulder. I wonder what's really going on here, but this had to be taken the same day as this. That's where I saw those outfits before. When Lauren London and Nipsey did the photo shoot before his death. Y'all don't find that suspicious? Does anyone find that suspicious? But hold on, wait, there's more. Now, please pay attention to this. Now, you remember this picture in all white with Lauren London and Nipsey, also taken when they had the photo shoot. But what is this? This is a photo shoot with Diddy and Lauren in all white. What's really going on here? And then it says, Diddy post this. It has Diddy's name. It's from his post. And then it says, and then it was deleted. I want you to pay attention. It was deleted. But it says Diddy. It says hashtag lost files at Lauren London. He tagged her in it and put the blue heart, which they used to put for Nipsey, which is what Lauren used to post for Nipsey. What's going on there? I have questions. And then the post was deleted. Well, why did Diddy delete it after he posted it? What's this right here? This picture with him and Lauren sitting so cozy together. Now, keep in mind, Diddy allegedly beat the crap out of her sister. Okay, prior to all of this, Diddy allegedly beat the crap out of Capricorn Clark, Lauren's own sister. Okay, please make that all make sense. Y'all don't find that suspicious? Y'all don't find that suspicious? Susan said it's all going to come out. Nipsey Hussle wasn't behind him being murdered. This is all real crazy. Hold on, but let me continue. There's more. There's Diddy between Cassie and Lauren London again. That could have just been a Sean John ad. I'm not sure. But there he is, all cozied up with Lauren again. And then this picture here. Look how Cassie and Lauren London are holding each other. Now, I'm sorry. I have several questions. Were both of them messing around with Diddy? I'm not saying they were. I'm just saying I have questions. And who is this guy right here? This looks like an actor that I've seen. But I find it very interesting. But hold on. Because do you all remember that one? Hold on, beloveds. I didn't mean to put that on the screen. Let me go back just a second. Hold on. Go back a little bit so you all can see the guy that I'm talking about. And Lauren London again. That could have just been a Sean John ad. I'm not sure. But there he is, all cozied up with Lauren again. And then this picture here. Look how Cassie and Lauren London are holding each other. Now, I'm sorry. I have several questions. Were both of them messing around with Diddy? I'm not saying they were. I'm just saying I have questions. And who is this guy right here? This looks like an actor that I've seen in something. His face looks very familiar. Does anybody know who that guy is? He looks like an actor I've seen on something. I don't know who he is, though. Wonder who he is and what he had to do with all of that. But I find it very interesting. But hold on. Because do you all remember that once when Lauren London was asked, how did she meet Nipsey? And she told the story about going to his store over in Slauson and purchasing DVDs from his new album that was out. And then she said her homeboy, not herself, she said her homeboy text or got in the DMs of Nipsey and pretended to be her. Do you all remember that? Because if you don't, hold on. Now, I couldn't find the video of her actually saying that, but there's a video showing that she said it. I'm going to mute the sound. And you can read it because there's subtitles. Hold on just a second. I'm going to share my screen. It was a match made in Hollywood heaven that will continue to live on forever. West Coast rapper and community hero Nipsey Hussle was shot and killed on Sunday, March 31st in his hometown of Los Angeles. As the music world grieves his tragic passing, support from his longtime girlfriend, actress Lauren London, has flooded social media. The pair first met at his Marathon clothing store on Slauson Avenue in Los Angeles, the same location where he was gunned down. Here's a look back at their fairy tale love story. The couple, who were known for being extremely private when it comes to their union, first started dating in 2013 when London wanted to buy Nipsey's $100 limited edition mixtape, a rap present for her co-stars on the BET series, The Game. After her mixtape purchase, the ATL actress began following Hussle on Instagram. You know what that means, right? That's what Nipsey Hussle told GQ. London told GQ that after following the double up rapper, she did not make the first move. Now pay attention. I did not slide into his DMs. My homeboy did. Who is her homeboy? Hussle followed back and slid into her DMs, and the rest, as they say, is history. Who is the homeboy? Is Diddy the homeboy? Is Diddy the homeboy? I have questions. Is Diddy the homeboy that slid in the DMs for him? Because what man slides in another man's DMs for a woman, acting as if it's that woman? I think it was Diddy. But hold on. After those pictures were posted with Lauren London and Diddy, people started spreading rumors that Lauren and Diddy were dating. This was in 2020. Lauren London talks about rumors that she's dating Diddy after Nipsey Hussle's death. Actress Lauren London was quick to shut down the rumors that she is now dating hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs almost 1 year after the death of her boyfriend, Grammy-winning rapper Nipsey Hussle. The hoopla began when the Bad Boy founder shared a photo of himself with London during the Rock Nation pre-Grammys brunch, captioning the black and white flick, "More Lost Files, Me and My Sister," at Lauren London. Now, despite calling her sister, fans began to question the state of Puff and London's relationship, which immediately set the ATL actress off. She initially responded with a cool head, posting a photo of Hussle, whose birth name was Ermias Ashadam. Okay, she said on there, "Still his, King Ermias, never forget." She followed it up with a more aggressive post demanding the public stop effing playing with her while she continues to mourn the death of her longtime partner. "I'm all love and peace, but never forget, I'm a woman in grief and I don't play about Nip, my family, my character, and code." This is what she captioned on Instagram. "About to drink a green juice to start the day though." But what's up with those pictures and why did Diddy delete them? Was it because Lauren went off? I have questions. Hold on. Now here's a video of Nipsey talking about how him and Lauren started dating. And he says just about the same thing. I'm going to mute the sound because there's music. But their subtitles Hold on. Now let me show you all this. Hold on, let me make sure I have that video in here. I had so many receipts. I knew this, because I never knew this. Hold on. Hold on. I need to go to Instagram. Hold on. I have to share it on Instagram.
I'm saying, I was like, whenever you got questions, pull up. And then on his last album, people do not know this. Somebody tried to jerk me, but I fixed it. I actually am one of the executive producers of Nipsey Hussle's last album.
Victory Lap.
Yeah, Victory Lap. So a lot of people don't know this. We got them to change it in Wikipedia. Somebody over at the label tried to leave my name out, but he came to me and said, I want you to be a part of helping me finish up this album. And so I was a part of not just the record I was on with him on his last album. He was like, yo, I'm a big fan of like Life After Death. You know what I'm saying? And I know you got like that vibe. I'm bringing like that vibe. Like my stuff, it has a West Coast sound, but it also has a bad boy sound. So I felt like, yo, I really need you to come and help me out with this. So that's why I have so much footage of us in the studio, because like the last 5 days of him finishing the album, he came to me and said, you come on as one of the executive producers. And man, we had just started really getting extra close and tight. And then, you know, everything happened with him on his last album. He was like, yo, I'm a big fan of like Life After Death. You know what I'm saying? And I know you got like that vibe. I'm bringing like that vibe. Like my stuff, it has a West Coast sound, but it also has a bad boy sound. So I felt like, yo, I really need you to come and help me out with this. So that's why I have so much footage of us in the studio, because like the last 5 days.
Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. Let me just tell you all something. For those of you who used to follow me when I was on Facebook before I came to YouTube, you should remember that I did a reading on Nipsey after he died. Now, the reason I did the reading, and I have to look for that video, I have to really look for it. But the reason I did a reading on Nipsey is because I had a dream. And Nipsey came to me in the dream, and he was holding a deck of cards, and they were spread out. He was standing right next to me, and I'm sitting at a table. And so when I woke up, I said, what was that dream about? And then I thought about the cards, because I do my readings not with tarot cards. I use regular playing cards like you play spades with. And that's what he was holding. And I said, wait a minute, is Nipsey trying to tell me to do a reading on him? And I did the reading on a Facebook Live. And I said at the time that Lauren London, the cards were showing me that Lauren London had something to do with all of it. Now, let me say allegedly, but I'm telling you that's what the card showed me. And I said that on a live on Facebook. But hold on. Let's look at this. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Wait, I didn't even want to get dressed. I was going to wear sweats.
Did you? Were you really?
Did somebody?
Hold on, you guys. Let me put an overlay over this, because I think I got a copyright claim last time I showed this video. This Angie Martinez interview.
I'm not getting. Yeah.
Did somebody pull you aside?
Wait a second. Wait a second, beloveds. I just thought about something. I don't have permission to use that video, so I'm just going to play the audio. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Just a second to get the video queued.
Puff.
Really?
Puff pulled me aside and was like, look, bud, you have showed everybody what it looks like to hold a man down and to love him. Now show them what it looks like when it all crumbles. That's your responsibility. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing that. But Puff was more, you know, he's like a real brother.
Mm-hmm. He's been through a lot of loss too.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, you show up. Because he heard, I guess, I don't know who told Puff I was.
Somebody called Puff. Somebody called Puff. Somebody in your family on your team called Puff. Like, yo, talk to Lauren.
I was like, I'm wearing whatever. I'm not supposed to this now. You know, I was like giving that. And so he was like, no, show up. Show up with your head up. So I really think God just carried me through that because I don't know how.
Okay, so you all heard that. Somebody called Diddy to talk to her because she was going to wear jogging pants to Nipsey's funeral. Because she was upset that had even happened, that he had lost his life. And then somebody called Diddy and had him to talk to her and get her to change her mind. Why would they call Diddy? Why would they call Diddy of all people to talk to her? Well, he must have obviously had some type of influence over her if that's the case. Y'all don't find this all crazy? How her and Cassie are such good friends, and in that one picture, her and Cassie are holding each other in each other's arms, like in a romantic way. And then Diddy's in the middle of several pictures between her and Cassie. And then the picture of Nipsey and Lauren, Diddy's in the middle. And then in another picture, Diddy's looking focused on Lauren. And then Diddy posted pictures of him and Lauren and then tagged her in, and then he deleted them. And then Diddy said that he was executive produced Nipsey's album. How many of you knew that? I had no idea. How many of you knew that he executive produced Nipsey's album? And there's also pictures of Nipsey at the studio with him. Now, keep in mind, beloveds, that also when the rumors were swirling about Diddy having a relationship with Lauren, Kodak Black came out and said something because they had accused, or they had gone in on Kodak Black because after Nipsey died, Kodak tried to shoot a shot at Lauren London. And they went in on him. And he said, why are they going in on me? Diddy been effing that man's girl. They ain't say nothing to him. Do y'all remember that? I don't know if I showed it in this video or not. Just Anticipate says, Queen, do you think the elite had Diddy to get Nipsey out of here because he was speaking on Dr. Sabi a lot and wanted to do a documentary on him? You know, that's a good question, beloved. I do not know. I mean, a lot of people speculated that Nipsey's death had something to do possibly with that whole Dr. Sabi documentary. And then remember, Nick Cannon came out after his death and said he was going to do it, but it never came to fruition. Okay, so please pay attention. I'm not sure, but I definitely think Diddy had something to do with it. I sure do. And you know, who knows what his motive was? That could be it. I'm not sure. So with that all being said, when Lauren says that her homeboy slid into Nipsey's DMs and then sent Nipsey a DM as if Lauren sent the DM, I think it was Diddy. Don't y'all find that just a bit suspicious? It is what it is. Says allegedly there was a video of Nip with another man being intimate. What? Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. I think we've heard all enough. So it just looks like to me that there was possibly something going on with Diddy and Lauren. So Lauren London being mentioned in this case, I don't know, is she going to be testifying for Diddy? I would think that it would be for Diddy, not against Diddy. Okay, so with that all been said, the Inquest said, Queen, if Nipsey came to you in a dream, imagine his visitations to Miss London. She ain't sleeping well. Okay, all right. I have to agree, beloved. Now, let's listen to what this guy said about Capricorn Clark. Now, this is just a brief clip because this is from Tasha K's interview. This is a clip that she released publicly, but you know, at the end of the day, I watched the whole interview and honey, it was juicy. This man is so damn messy, honey. He is absolutely nefarious, okay? And you can tell just from this clip that he's messy as hell, honey. Okay, please pay attention. I wouldn't ever want to tell him any secrets and then piss him off. That's all I'm saying. Hold on just a second. Let me turn this volume up. Okay.
He told me that Puff was fucking Fat Joe's wife. That's why Fat Joe don't show up for him. And like, because I'm like, yo, where are all his friends? Where's Fat Joe? Where's he? You told me he was fucking Fat Joe's wife too, Loretta. Yeah, Loretta. You better knock it off, Loretta. Loretta. the bullshit down. Because Capricorn Clark definitely said you was thinking out that Miami house. 1000%. She gonna set a flame to everything she a part of. She worked for Puff, now she testifying against him. She went for Pusha T, she fed Drake information for $100,000 to him. Like, this bitch is a terrible person. Terrible. How did I do that? Because here's the thing, it's like, I'm gonna go to Puff's boys with this shit, or I'm gonna come to you. This shit gonna be way more entertaining for the culture.
Okay, so did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Yeah, she was telling all the tea, and now he's spilling all the tea. Okay, please pay attention. Now that interview was nefarious. Okay, and like I said, that young man, or he's not a young man, he's like Diddy's age, but that guy who was saying all that stuff, Tasha K told him that he has the same exact mannerisms as Diddy, and he literally does. He's sitting there talking, chewing on a toothpick. I'm talking about if that wasn't Diddy sitting in that darn chair, I don't know who was. And so Tasha K asked him basically, where did you get this mannerisms from? And he was like, from his father. But he said when he was young, he was like the top stylist or the top designer for Diddy Sean John brand. And that meetings and stuff with Diddy used to watch him really, really hard. So maybe Diddy emulated him is what he was saying. I don't know if he was trying to act like Diddy or Diddy was trying to act like him, honey, but they act just alike in their mannerisms and their body, the body movements, the hand gestures, the way he crosses his leg, all that was Diddy, okay? It was hilarious to me. But so he said that Capricorn Clark is going to testify against Diddy. And then Lauren's name was mentioned. So if Lauren testifies for Diddy, how's that going to fly? Honey, this is all juicy. Okay, this is all juicy. I'm telling y'all. Okay, so anyway, we'll see how it all turns out. But it could be sister pitted against sister as far as I'm concerned. And then here's another thing about Diddy too and Capricorn. Because when Capricorn and Diddy fell out and she got fired from Bad Boy, well, it was rumored that she had stolen from the label. Okay, it came out that she had stolen from the label. Those were the allegations. But Diddy, sometime after the fact, came out and said that's not true. And he was talking real nice about her. But they say the reason he was talking real nice is because he didn't want to go to jail. Okay, he didn't want her pressing any charges about him whipping on her. That's what was alleged. P. Diddy denies Lauren London's sister stole from him. Now, this is from 2012. P. Diddy has responded to the claims that his assistant and marketing manager, Capricorn Clark, was fired after allegedly stealing from him, claiming the reports are false. Okay, a report emerged earlier this month claiming that Capricorn had been stealing money from Diddy's Bad Boy Records label and had subsequently been fired from her position as the hip-hop mogul's right-hand woman. However, Diddy says the allegations couldn't be further from the truth, and Capricorn was actually a valued employee who is simply moving on to other ventures. Okay, and then he tagged her, Capricorn Clark at Capadonna, has only given, never taken. She's moving on to bigger and better things. I wish her the best. Love. Okay, that's what he wrote on Twitter, honey. But at the end of the day, honey, like I said, Diddy was trying to get in good, probably hoping she wouldn't file anything against him. All right, please pay attention. So with that all being said, last but not least, they say that Diddy's lawyer, celebrity lawyer Mark Geragos, is still in the whole spotlight from Diddy. Well, why is he still in the spotlight? I already told you, because Mark Geragos is trying to set this whole thing up for inadequate counsel, as far as I'm concerned. And another thing is the prosecution said days ago that he hadn't even had not even filed his paperwork to be involved in the case, so that he shouldn't even be sitting up in court, because he was in court sitting up there. You could tell that he was they said that he was sitting up in court, and you could clearly tell that he was advising them, okay, the attorneys. And so, and let me tell you something, the prosecution, they're very bothered by this man, okay? They are very bothered by him, because not only because of what he said, but because of his expertise and him being such a good attorney. And he really has impressed, in my opinion. Okay, please pay attention. But they all, and here's the thing, they told the judge the same thing that I said when I told you guys that they better be worried about Diddy and his team setting up to get a mistrial and then go back on appeal or whatever, and then basically talking about inadequate counsel. Well, that's exactly what the prosecution said when they spoke with the judge, when they sent that letter to the judge. They said that they're very concerned about the stuff that he's saying because this could be, they said basically they do not want them to come back and win on appeal. Okay? That's what they don't want. Now, this article where they talk about how he's still in the spotlight from Diddy. So let's get into it. Sean Combs faces 15 years to life in prison if convicted on S-crime charges. Celebrity lawyer Mark Geragos steals Diddy's trial spotlight, runs into trouble with the judge. So basically, we already know why he ran into trouble with the judge, because he was running his mouth and saying certain things that he shouldn't have been saying, which in my opinion was all by design. Okay, which is all by design. Okay, like I told you, they know exactly what they're doing. They know that there's a chance that Diddy may, there's a good chance that Diddy may get convicted or whatnot. And so they're thinking about coming back on appeal, already setting that up. Okay, so now Sean Diddy Combs' legal team. So let's talk about some of these attorneys that are defending him. Okay, and let's not forget the Black woman who he's recently hired, Nicole Westmoreland. She was a victim of assault by Cash Money Records. Remember I told you all that days ago? Okay, Arjumand Mahal said 8 attorneys is not inadequate counsel. Well, if one of those attorneys, beloved, even if you have 20 attorneys, it only takes one of them to say or do something that's inappropriate to get you, that to where you can be able to say that you had ineffective counsel. All they have to do, what Mark Geragos is doing, could absolutely come back to haunt them, the prosecution, that is. If he does it again, the judge said he's going to be held in contempt. And the judge is going to be watching that Angry Men's podcast, the 2 Angry Men's podcast, because the judge is not here for it. Because he probably knows exactly what they're up to. Well, of course he does. The prosecution does too. That's why they wrote that letter to the judge. Okay, so now listen to this. Facing the potential of a life in prison on trafficking and racketeering charges, Sean Combs hired a high-profile team of defense lawyers for his criminal trial in New York. With combined 150 years of legal experience, Combs' team of lawyers have defended everyone from alleged United Healthcare CEO killer Luigi Mangione to disgraced financier Martin Shkreli and rapper Young Thug. In looking at the team, especially on the first day of jury selection, it seems like they've got people who are, who are experts in their own kind of general areas. Okay, this is what ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer said, saying that I think the team that Diddy has put together are some heavy hitters in their own rights, and they're looking together, or they're working together as such. Okay, so Combs, a self-proclaimed bad boy for life, was charged last year with racketeering, conspiracy, trafficking, and prostitution after prosecutors accused the rap mogul of using violence to coerce women into sex, protect his business empire, and preserve his reputation as one of hip-hop's most important figures. Now, if convicted, he faces the possibility of life in prison. Combs has pleaded not guilty and denied all the allegations against him, and his attorneys are expected to argue that any of the alleged sexual activity was done by consenting adults. And he, of course, rejected a plea deal last week. Now, with an estimated billion-dollar fortune helping support his legal defense, Combs is relying on his high-powered army of attorneys to defend him in court. Okay, now, first off, let's start with Mark Agnifilo. Experienced defense attorney Mark Agnifilo is leading Combs' defense team, bringing with him experience defending NXIVM leader Keith Rainier, pharma bro Martin Shkreli, and Goldman Sachs banker Roger Ng. Rainier was convicted of creating what prosecutors described as an sex cult. For those of you who've been following me since 2020 when I started the channel, I definitely was reporting on that heavy. Okay, that story was so juicy. But of course, it didn't even get any of the publicity that Diddy's is getting. So anyway, described as an sex cult in which female members were branded with his initials and kept in line through blackmail, and he was sentenced to 120 years in prison. So as we can see, Mark Agnifilo couldn't save him. Mark Agnifilo couldn't save him, honey. He got 120 years. Now, Shkreli was sentenced to 7 years in prison for securities fraud and conspiracy, while Ng was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his alleged role in a money laundering and bribery scheme, including paying more than $1.6 billion in bridges to dozens of government officials. Agnifilo also has experience working as a federal and state prosecutor and boasts having tried more than 200 cases over his 3-decade legal career. Agnifilo is also one of a legal power couple with his wife, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, a former prosecutor who investigated the Trump Organization while with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. And let me tell you all something. That's another reason. I want you all to pay attention. That's another reason Trump is not going to give Diddy a pardon if he gets convicted. Trump don't like Diddy after Diddy said all that stuff about him, but he darn sure doesn't like Mark Agnifilo or his wife. Okay, because she's the one who conducted an investigation on him, and I can bet you that Trump has not forgotten about it, nor will he. Okay, so she invested the Trump Organization while with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Since leaving government service, her most high-profile client has been Luigi Mangione, the 27-year-old accused of gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson last year. Now, then we have Tina Geragos. Tina Geragos is a founding partner at New York-based law firm Agnifilo & Trader. And she also defended Rainier and Shkreli. She graduated from Lola Law School of Los Angeles in 2016. Geragos is also the daughter of famed defense attorney Mark Geragos, whose clients include Hunter Biden, Chris Brown, and Michael Jackson. While Mark Geragos is not representing Combs, his appearance in court during jury selection sparked criticism from prosecutors due to his past public statements about the case on his podcast. Federal prosecutors asked the judge to remind Mark Geragos about court policies that forbid statements outside court that could interfere with a fair trial. Okay, so here's the thing too. Mark Geragos was supposed to be part of Diddy's team, but then opted just to stand in as an advisor. But the prosecution thinks that, okay, even if you want to be, giving advice about anything on the case, you need to fill out paperwork. Okay, so anyway, Mark Geragos is also involved in a simultaneous high-profile case of arguing for the release of Eric and Lau Menendez, 35 years after the pair was convicted of killing their parents. Then we have Alexandra Shapiro. Alexandra Shapiro brings over 30 years of appellate experience to Combs' legal team, having served as the Deputy Chief of Appeals for the United States Attorney's Office in Manhattan and an attorney advisor in the Office of Legal Counsel of the U.S. Department of Justice. She represented Sam Bankman-Fried in the failed appeal of his criminal conviction and scored a series of legal victories at the United States Supreme Court. She also clerked for the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a job that she shares with the judge overseeing Combs' case, though the two did not overlap. And then there's Brian Steele. Atlanta-based attorney Brian Steele joined Combs' legal team last month after gaining national attention defending rapper Young Thug. After the longest criminal trial in Georgia history, Young Thug pleaded guilty to gun, drug, and gang charges, but was spared a lengthy prison sentence. Steele was briefly sent to jail during the trial after the judge overseeing the case held him in contempt for refusing to provide the judge information about what he learned of a meeting between prosecutors, a witness, and the judge himself. The contempt ruling was later overturned. And let me say something about Brian Steele. Honey, if you get in any trouble, okay, I know he's expensive, but if you get in any trouble, Brian Steele is the lawyer I would want. Okay, that man goes hard in the paint for his clients. He literally got arrested in the court and went to jail for Young Thug, okay, defending his client, honey. So you know Diddy wants him. Now, next we have Xavier Donaldson. Now, Xavier Donaldson's a new addition to the team. This is a black man, Xavier R. Donaldson, and he puts me in the mind of Anthony Rico, who quit. Xavier Donaldson is a New York-based criminal defense attorney, joined Combs' legal team on the eve of the trial. He has nearly 3 decades of criminal defense experience and worked as a former prosecutor in the Bronx. And see, this is good because this is good for Diddy, because here's what he's doing. He has these people on his team. Passport Shogun said Brian Steele didn't go to jail. Well, he was arrested in the courtroom. What do you mean he didn't go to jail? He didn't? I could have sworn he did. But anyway, nonetheless, we'll get into that in a minute. But here's the thing. I find this interesting because Diddy's team, they picked some of these lawyers who were former prosecutors. Okay, they were former prosecutors. And so they know how the prosecution is working when they're trying to put their case together. Okay. Anita said, I remember that Queen, that judge was nefarious. Yes, he was, honey. Okay. Now, then we have Ana Estavio. She's a partner to the New York law firm Sher Tremonte LLP. She graduated from New York University School of Law and briefly worked as a federal defender in California, according to her LinkedIn profile. We have Jason Driscoll. Now, Jason Driscoll is an associate at Shapiro's law firm and one of the most junior members of Combs' defense team. He graduated from the New York University School of Law and completed 2 deferral clerkships. He's an amateur, and I can bet you that the only reason he's been allowed to even be on this case is to get him the the experience that he needs as a new upcoming attorney. Okay, and he's in good because he's working for Shapiro's office. So that's how he was able to get in there. Okay, so anyway, Linda Marino. Linda Marino is a high-profile legal consultant who joined Combs' legal team to help with jury selection. Her law firm's website describes her as an expert on anti-Muslim bias, including representing Sami Amin al-Arayan after he was indicted under the Patriot Act for allegedly playing a leadership role in the terrorist group Palestinian Jihad. Now, he was acquitted on most charges and pleaded guilty to lesser charges. She also was on the legal team that secured an acquittal for Noor Salman, the wife of the Post nightclub shooter who was accused of lying to the FBI and helping her husband. Marino is no stranger to celebrity trials, having worked on the legal team defending American actor Wesley Snipes in his criminal trial for failing to file tax returns. Well, he was convicted on 3 misdemeanor charges, but acquitted on the more serious felony charges. Now, with that all being said, I don't even have to tell you all about Nicole Westmoreland because we spoke about her on yesterday. So these are Diddy's dream team lawyers, okay? With that all being said, what do you all think? Do you all think Diddy has a snowball's chance in hell of getting off? One's in the chat. One's in the chat. Okay, now let me share something because y'all know the Queen doesn't mind when people correct me if I say the wrong thing. But when you correct me, make sure you know what you're talking about. That's all I'm saying, okay? Brian Steele. He did go to jail. Okay. Yes, Brian Steele, Young Thug's lawyer, was briefly jailed. He was held in contempt of court and sentenced to 20 days in jail. He's to be served on weekends after refusing to disclose the source of his information about an alleged ex parte meeting between the judge, prosecutors, and key witnesses. Okay. Yeah, he did go to jail. All right. So please pay attention. I usually know what I'm talking about, and when I don't, I keep my mouth shut. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so some of y'all are saying yes, he has a chance. Some of y'all are saying no. Let me tell y'all something. I think the Inquest said anything is possible. Right. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you like this. I think Diddy has a good chance of getting off because I'm trying to figure out how in the world the prosecution is going to prove their case because they have a victim who doesn't want to come in and speak. Okay, victim number 3 doesn't want to come in and speak. And it's not going to show up. And even if she did, even if they forced her to, that wouldn't do them any good because that's now a hostile witness. And okay, and I've told you all about that before, how somebody doesn't really want to come in and speak on something, but you can force them because you can subpoena them or whatever. But at the end of the day, they're really not going to help their case 9 times out of 10 because if they've made up their mind, they don't want anything to do with it. They're just really not going to be trying to help you. And so that's one of the things that can be a hindrance. Okay, so we got that going bad for the prosecution. Okay, then we have the fact that they're already having a difficult time picking an impartial jury. Okay, so because everybody's heard about it, everybody's been reading all this stuff. And so what they need to be worried about is the people that are going through, the people that will be finally selected. They have to be concerned if these people are not clout chasers and just people that are fans of Diddy's. You know, because even though they ask a myriad of questions and vet these people, honey, these people can go in there and lie. Okay, these people can go in there and lie. Listen, if they had called me for jury selection, do you think that I would be sitting there telling them that I can't stand Diddy? Honey, I would come on here and delete all of my videos or put them on private. Okay. Oh, and I tell them, yes, I can be impartial, knowing that I got it in for Diddy. So I'm just saying, this is what the prosecution, they're going to have to worry about that more so than the defense, I do believe. And the last thing is one of the main hurdles that I think they're going to have to get over is proving that the stuff that's on the videotapes that Cassie turned over was not consensual, that it was in fact coerced and forced, that Cassie and the S workers didn't want to do it. But the big hurdle is going to be because the fact that these S workers were paid by Diddy. So did y'all do it for the money? Of course they did. And if you did it for the money, don't tell me you weren't consensual. Don't try to act like you were forced to do this stuff. Y'all did it because you wanted to get paid point blank and serious. Okay. And at the end of the day, let's remember, Cassie is not innocent in this. Okay, Cassie is not innocent in this. Cassie was absolutely complicit in some of these things that went on with Diddy, and that's why I said the defense is going to paint her as an unindicted co-conspirator. Okay, just like that man whose video that was speaking on that video. Remember, he said that Diddy can be the only one charged because there's other people that are unindicted co-conspirators, and that would definitely be Cassie. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Looks like I have one more video. Wait a minute. What is this? Hold on. Wait a minute here. Okay, so this is one more video where they're talking about. Hold on. Let me make sure this is a different video. Okay, so let me go to this video real quick from News Nation, where they're talking about Diddy and the A-listers' names that were dropped. Okay, and then we're out of here. Look at Dan said, take your time, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so I'll be back later, but later we got to talk about some serious business. Unless there's any more updates on Diddy, I'll be talking about some trending stories later, okay, that y'all need to hear about. And giving y'all some lifelines, honey, because we're about to be out here stressed the hell out and struggling. Okay, some of us anyway. Please pay attention.
No offense to Kevin Bacon, but when it comes to degrees of separation between artists and actors and icons and movers and shakers, nobody is more entwined with the cultural fabric of the past 30 years than Sean Combs, Puff Daddy, Puffy, P. Diddy, whatever you call him. His fingerprints are all over music and television and fashion and fragrances, even the liquor that we've been drinking for decades. And even if you don't know Diddy from Puff Daddy, no judgment, boo. He's had many acts. But he's more than likely made an impression on everybody watching right now. I don't care what your age is. Maybe you'll never forget when he dated J-Lo. That was a big thing, quarter century ago. Trust me. Before Ben Jen, it was Diddy Jen. But then it was Puff Jen, actually. He launched the Vote or Die in 2004, became a really big deal there for a lot of people. He also threw those star-studded white parties in the Hamptons where everybody who was anybody went. Maybe you saw these pictures. Maybe you were there. Maybe you drank that Ciroc vodka that he was shilling forever, right? Maybe you wore a pair of his jeans. Sean John was a heck of a label. And maybe Bad Boy Entertainment opened your eyes and ears to a world that you never knew existed. Now, of course, Sean Combs' legacy, just like his liberty, his fortune, and his future, that all hangs in the balance of a sex crimes trial underway right now in New York federal court. But those connections and Diddy's impact not only are not fading away, they are under the spotlight like never before, in the last place you might expect. Jury selection. Like, it's never exciting, jury selection. Oh, it's boring. You wait till the panel's picked and then the good stuff starts. No, not in this case. Jury selection's been amazing. The candidates are being asked about their own connections to or impressions of an array of celebrities, and with no explanation why, at least not yet. The parlor games have begun, my friends. Everybody is trying to connect the dots between the shiny, famous names and the beleaguered rap star Diddy and the charges. Just today, the name Robert Downey Jr. came up in court when a prospective juror said that he knew a Robert Downey in high school. It was kind of funny. But Robert Downey, the actor, and Diddy apparently do know each other and have been seen together in public. But Robert Downey Jr. reportedly never attended Diddy's parties. So if he does figure into this trial somehow, it's going to be a lot of news to a lot of us. Mike Myers, another favorite Canadian, favorite actor, favorite comedian. He is on the jury question list as well. And that, too, is a tongue-wagging mystery. Unless it's about the quick jab at Diddy that he took in the Austin Powers movie. I don't know. Doesn't seem likely. Rolling Stone magazine reports that actor Michael B. Jordan made the list because Diddy once threatened him for dating Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. Same goes for the rapper Kid Cudi. USA Today says that Cassie's lawsuit claimed that Diddy threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car. Music producer Dallas Austin may have made the list for his ties to the late Kim Porter, who was mom to 4 of Diddy's kiddies. And singer Dawn Richard from the girl group Danity Kane, she is likely on the famous people list because she's one of Diddy's many accusers. Not in his criminal case, but she sued him civilly last year, claiming that she saw him abuse Cassie, his girlfriend, and that she herself was sexually assaulted, deprived of food, and cheated out of money that she was owed. Guess what? You're going to hear from her attorney in just a hot minute. But first, I want to bring in News Nation correspondent Caitlin Becker, who's outside the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. Caitlin's been covering this case gavel to gavel. Okay, first of all, let's just start with the drip, drip, drip of all the names, because the internet is really on fire. What happened today?
You know, Ashley, a lot of the same things. You get asked these same exact questions about these celebrities with no real context as to why. And you really hit the nail on the head a minute ago when you said jury selection's kind of boring, but not in the Diddy case. Most prospective jurors who come into jury selection have never heard of the defendant, let alone have an opinion of them. But what we heard today was prospective jurors who were excluded because they flat out said they don't like Diddy going into it. They don't have a favorable opinion. One guy said he believed Diddy has enough money to buy his way out of jail. So those jurors immediately excluded. There was also some laughs in the courtroom today from the attorneys and the judge when one prospective juror said that he couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't be able to smoke marijuana for all 8 to 10 weeks of the trial. So that person was excluded. But by the end of the day, they've added 10 more people to that pool of 45 that they're trying to get, because they're not impaneling the jury, like I said, typically as how we think of it. They're going to have a pool of 45 people who are acceptable prospective jurors. They expect that to be done tomorrow. And from that pool of 45, that is where they're going to choose their 12 jurors and their 6 alternates, Ash.
You realize that that marijuana guy has just set the bar for every other person out there who wants to get out of jury duty. You just tell the judge that you're a dope smoker and you can't give it up. I can't believe that was a reason to be like punted, but I can. Okay, the other thing I didn't quite understand, especially on the, the day after the Met Gala, the toast of the town and costumery, Diddy showed up in the same clothes. He's wearing the same.
662 Paru said, I was wrong about Brian Steele. Brian Steele didn't serve any jail time. Honey, I just showed you the receipts. What are you talking about? I literally just showed the receipts. Do I need to show it again? Okay, let me show it again, okay? Because at the end of the day, the man was in jail. I showed it to you. It says, yes, Brian Steele, Young Thug's lawyer, was briefly jailed. He was held in contempt and sentenced to 20 days in jail. Now, he didn't do the 20 days and the weekends. That was thrown out. But he did go to jail that day. Who are you calling a big dummy, honey? Oh, I know you about to get cursed out. Say what now? Do I need to drop the link, honey? Because I'm no dummy by a long shot. Now, he did go to jail briefly. That's what it says. Now, for the 20 days that he was supposed to be spending weekends in jail, no, he didn't have to do that. It was overturned and it was thrown out. I literally did a video about it and read the legal documents, okay? So you're the big dummy, okay? Don't ever come here trying to insult my intelligence, honey, all right? And is it that serious, okay? Even if I was wrong, which I'm not, but even if I were, do you have to call names? That just shows that you're the dummy, okay? Bye. Nice knowing you. You didn't want to click the link anyway, I'm sure. Okay, but let's continue. Always one, people. There's always one. I want y'all to pay attention, honey. Okay, these people who come here thinking they know what the hell they're talking about and they don't. Okay, I literally just pulled it up on Google, but I could go back to the video where I actually showed the receipts. Now, he didn't get sentenced to the 20 days to serve weekends. That was thrown out. But yes, they took him to jail from the court. They literally had the bailiff escort him out of there. Please pay attention. Okay, so don't come in here talking crazy.
Funky dog head, bitch. How dare you try to tarnish my motherfucking
Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur
reputation, punk motherfucker. Respect the
royals
and back off, bitch, before we come get you.
And that's on box. Okay, you heard what I said, bitch.
Same outfit. Do we expect that this is a ploy? Is this a mistake that lawyers forgot to bring him a fresh change? What was going on there?
same outfit really surprised me too. I expected maybe a version of that outfit, but not the same exact one. It is a little dressed down for court, so I don't know if maybe we're going to see a suited Diddy when it comes time for the trial to actually begin come Monday. But there aren't any cameras in the courtroom. There's no cameras, there's no still cameras, there's no photography, there's no video cameras, and he doesn't walk in and out, so we don't really see him. So maybe that had something to do with it. He's not kind of performing for anyone in there, but is he though? His cousin was in there again, the one that walks in wearing the Free Puffy shirt, and they seem to kind of nod and non-verbally communicate with each other in court today, Ash, when he was going in and out, and every time he could turn around to the gallery, they seemed like they had some sort of understanding and some signals. But tomorrow is going to be really interesting. Tomorrow is when they're going to use those preemptory challenges where both sides get to say no, 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 no to the jurors they don't want, and they've saved all of them for tomorrow.
And they don't have to say why. That's the magic of peremptories. You just get to wave your wand, and it doesn't matter what your reason is.
Yeah, you can strike those people without giving any sort of explanation or whatever. Okay. Y'all are hilarious. Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, honey, listen, don't come here trying to bash me. I'm just up here trying to do my work. Okay. Mama Joyce said, sorry about that, Queen. Please don't mind that troll. I dislike when people can't relay their emotions without insulting. Oh, you know, it's okay, beloved. That I don't even mind. At the end of the day, honey, I just ban people like that from the channel, or, you know, drop the link for them to click it, which they don't. But the bottom line is, honey, even if I was wrong, is it that serious for you to call me names? That just shows how dumb they are. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, so thank you, beloved. Now I'm going to fast forward this so we can see what this next person has to say. Okay, because this video is kind of long. I'm ready to get up out of here so I can gather the rest of y'all's receipts for later.
Right. But when they're talking about it during jury selection, that's an open process. So everybody who's in there, including me, we're all writing those names down. Now, I don't know what connection Michael B. Jordan has to the case, or Mike Myers has to the case, or Audrey O'Day, the singer, or Kid Cudi, the singer. I don't know what connection they have to the case, but we know that their names are out there so that if any of the jurors had a connection, they would have to reveal it. So far, a number of people, of course, have said, oh, yes, I know that the person, I don't know them personally, but I recognize the name. But beyond that, we don't know. But are people shaking in their boots? I mean, I would imagine some are. And at a very minimum, I'm sure these folks do not appreciate their name being mentioned in the Sean Combs sex trafficking trial, but there's not a lot they can do about it either.
Or maybe they appreciate the fact that their names aren't being mentioned with really awful facts next to them. As long as it remains nebulous, for those who might be guilty, that's not a bad thing. For those who may be completely innocent, they're probably frustrated that the context wasn't attached early on. Environment where it feels sometimes like the pendulum has been swinging back against women. Blake Lively has been taking it on the chin publicly. You have Amber Heard, who lost terribly, not only in court, but in the public opinion as well. And I'm wondering if you think that same zeitgeist exists right now and might employ itself in the Diddy trial.
You know, Ashley, I've been representing victims of discrimination, harassment, and abuse since 1986, nearly 40 years. And I have lived with the pendulum swinging one way and then the other way. And you're right, with Me Too and 2017 and a couple of years after that, it really swung in favor of women. And has it swung back? I mean, maybe to some extent, but I think Me Too is not over. I think we have educated people about, for example, that victims may take years to come forward.
Okay, so with that all being said, Lorraine says we can always agree to disagree, but I wouldn't dare call you out your name if that isn't childish. I don't know what is with love. Okay, it is childish. Okay, calling me a dummy. I get out of here. Okay, was he that mad because I said the attorney got locked up? I mean, like, damn, can I live? What is wrong with people, honey? Just hating on the queen. But anyway, with that all being said, Cookie said, Queen, I don't like when dum-dums tries to come for you. Honey, don't worry. You know I set them straight, but thank you, beloved. Okay, Queen Sam said name calling is a Trump trope. Okay, because those types have no intelligence. I mean, you really don't. If you can't articulate what you're trying to say by using regular words without spewing insults, I mean, then you're the dummy is all I'm saying. Okay? It's just hilarious. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, listen, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. I hope you all enjoyed it. I will be back later with your lifelines, okay, with the 411 on what's going down in the country and around the world, honey, because there's a whole lot of nefariousness going on. Okay, and also I'm going to talk about Monique, honey, because they were dragging Monique. I might talk about Monique, how they were dragging her about Shannon Sharp. But nonetheless, okay, Dornicia said, we got your back. Thank you, beloved. I know y'all do. Okay, Lillian X said, Queen is no dummy. Okay, by no means a dummy. She can never be. Thank you. Okay, honey, you know how people do. My thing is, if you don't like somebody, why are you in their chat on their channel? I mean, there's thousands of other YouTubers, right? Oh, but let me tell you all something. So listen, you all. Did y'all hear anything about Shannon Sharp striking people's channels? No less. Did y'all hear about that? One's in the chat. One's in the chat, honey, because I saw a YouTuber who did a video saying that Shannon Sharp hit his channel with a strike, honey, said Shannon's trying to silence people. Okay, did y'all hear about that? He needs to sit all the way down, Shannon, because we didn't tell you to be out there messing around with the little young snow bunny. And Dr. Umar even warned you, and so did Monique, and so did Cat Williams, honey. At the end of the day, don't blame us for your problems. Okay, like, are you serious right about now? Striking channels. Let me tell y'all something. When people start striking channels, as far as I'm concerned, that just means you're guilty as hell. Okay, let's not forget how TD Jakes was striking people's channels too. Okay. James W. says Shannon Sharp turned into Drake. Okay. He needs to sit down somewhere. Anyway, yeah, that's what he did, allegedly. All right. Y'all talking about the Vatican selected a new pope. I really don't care. I don't care about the Pope or the Vatican. That's just me. I'm not a fan of it. Okay, I know I believe nefarious things. I'm gonna say that much. Anyway, so maybe I'll talk about it later. I don't know. I mean, if y'all want to hear it, but I really don't care. Okay, never have about that sort of thing. Okay, and if y'all understood, some of you, if y'all understood the symbolisms at the Vatican, you know what? I have a video that I did about that. I think I'm going to show it this evening. I think I'll show that little clip. I think it's a TikTok that I did or something talking about the symbolic things at the Vatican that are clearly nefarious in my opinion. So maybe we'll talk about that. Okay. But anyway, Mama Joycelyn said the truckers for Trump are crying. Oh, yes, they're crying. But guess what? Some of us going to be crying in a minute. Okay, some of us are going to be crying. So we can't laugh at them, honey, because we're on our way next. Trump is dragging this country straight to hell with gasoline draws. All right. So anyway, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this day. I hope to see you at the next broadcast, probably around 6 o'clock. Keep your notifications on. And also, please double check to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. All right. And so until next time, beloveds, I will talk to you all again soon. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got